of our consciousness.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist?
Yeah, I don't think they can't measure it, so it doesn't exist.
Really?
No, they are measured.
I think
They're
therefore I
measured.
am.
Depends on who you ask.
Otherwise, you
Yeah.
don't know how it works.
I don't think they know.
I think there's renewed interest in it though, recently. We're starting to look at it more.
Well, there's also making an equivalence between thinking and that consciousness is thinking.
Yeah.
The thinking.
Yeah.
I think, therefore I
So
am.
when I say the clarity, right? Clarity and cognition. Cognition. Do you understand that when I say that is in Buddhist philosophy point of view, our consciousness, the definition is two things: clarity and cognition.
In cognition, you mean the ability to know?
Exactly.
Right. Cognition is the ability
To know, to think.
Thing.
To think, to know, to see, to hear, to whatever. The
it doesn't-
clarity is not like, it's not like, it's not like a body.
And it's not like being clearer. Clarity means more
It's the awareness.
Awareness of.
But then when we use awareness, wouldn't we say that consciousness and mind both exist in awareness?
At this time, consciousness, let's say about the alaya, mind is the thinking, the thoughts. So thoughts are just continuation. One thought after another, then the past thoughts gone, no more there, right?
Yeah, they just arise, abide, and they disappear.
Rise because of this non-conceptual and conceptual thought, and object, subject, everything appears, then this arise thoughts like that.
And it's,
I don't know.
And what views the thoughts is awareness, and awareness never changes. So it's awareness that seems to me that.
Well,
views
we
the-
have a problem is I don't know how much you understand when I say this. Consciousness, the characteristic is clarity and cognition. Do you understand that? Of course you understand what that means, but you understand the consciousness, how it looks like, how it works? No? Really? That's the problem.
So again, you mean cognition is thinking and clarity?
No, cognition is, he said that, ability
The ability to know.
to know.
In thought, or in feeling, or in all of it?
Everything.
Okay.
But thought
Sarhyang Rigpa. In Tibet, Sarhyang Rigpa. Sarhyang, Sarva. Sar means clarity. Rigpa is cognition. That's the definition of consciousness.
But don't we get that when we meditate? I mean, don't we get little glimpses of that?
See, that's why first you have to understand intellectually, then you put that into your meditate, then you can experience, oh yes. But that's why make sure first you understand intellectually this characteristic. So I'm not sure when I say that you understand or not.
How does attachment come in?
How to attachment?
Yeah,
Attachment is the emotion.
which is different. than-
Mental, physical, emotional, three things. So the characteristic of consciousness is very important to understand.
What's the difference between an emotion and a thought?
Emotion and thought. Okay, emotion namtok. I think they're pretty much same.
I thought an emotion was like the result of a thought. You know, without a thought, it would be hard to have an emotion. We already have to have something in a context to be able to respond to it. So I would think that you have to have a thought to have an emotion.
And vice versa. I mean, emotions also play into thoughts. So they're just not connect.
But some
Some emotions are visceral, there's no conscious thought.
Let me check what.
And a thought can't
There's
really
emotion.
create emotion, is how we define the thought. That's what creates emotion, because we can have the same thing can happen. You can see it one way, I can see it another. For me, it has the emotion, for you, it doesn't. So the situation creates the thought, and then whatever that thought is, it has nothing in and of itself, and then whatever we make that thought, we respond to it, and that's the emotion.
Some emotions are pre-thought,
Pre-thought.
they're visceral or limbic system. Say fear. If you're close to the edge of a cliff, you don't really go through a process.
Yeah, but
Thinking.
those are
You don't-
instinctive responses, they're not,
But those can all be
You don't
overrode, so
call it a
I'm not really.
No.
But I think even though all of our sense consciousnesses are separate consciousness, you have your eye consciousness, your, those consciousnesses don't have thoughts associated with them necessarily. So I would be more, you don't necessarily have to have a thought to have a feeling or a sensation.
I think that sometimes in the West though, where we aren't used to slowing down the process enough to see like what Kim's saying, you know, it's like, oh, I just felt this way, but really there's things happening way before that, that we're not, because our awareness is not with it, we're not paying attention, so we just think that this is what happened. Like the visceral reaction of fear, you still have to acknowledge that you're in danger to have fear, so there's still a process.
Yeah.
The two different people can have a different response to the same event.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why I'm wondering where the attachment comes in, because that would seem to, one person may have put a heavier sense to one aspect where the other person wouldn't. And
It
so
seems it can only be our own interpretation. I mean, because we all interpret it different. I don't think there's a standard of anything, whether it's fear or.
Well, feelings are information. And then we take it to that, just like you said, that information, then different people will turn it into something different.
I think with no thought, there can't be any feeling.
I think that's.
We
I
have nothing to
think
base it on.
too. I think that no thoughts. This is very important to discuss, but yeah.
So consciousness, a lot of times it's the picture of myself, or is that self? Like when I think, what's the living part of myself?
That's why I'm saying the consciousness is that's all, nothing other than that. The clarity and the cognition.
Okay, so no self.
No self. That's for sure.
Is self something that we...
Self we think exists, but it doesn't exist. From Buddhist point of view.
Is clarity equanimity? What does clarity mean to you?
There are many ways. Clarity you can use relatively and ultimately.
Okay. Relative.
Relative clarity means, for instance, if I show you this piece of paper, I don't want to say, oh, this is white. I mean, that's the both combination of clarity and cognition. You know this is white paper. I don't have to teach you. Right?
Right.
That's a combination of clarity and cognition, that you have that capacity.
Do you mean like
Even though you're maybe the first time parents told you this is paper and this is white color. But after that you have that capacity, right, to understand.
And that's relative clarity.
Relative clarity.
But ultimate clarity,
Ultimate-
isn't that kind of hard to put into words? I mean, you can experience ultimate clarity because it's...
Ultimate clarity, when we talk about, you have to meditate and experience in order to understand that. And otherwise, describe the ultimate clarity is very difficult. I mean, we try many times, but rather your,
The nature
meditate,
of mind.
nature of mind. That's that we're talking. Clarity, awareness, all that. The combination. We say the union of clarity and emptiness. That's the ultimate of our consciousness, actually. So anyway, if you understand that, when we say clarity and cognition, that's our consciousness. So when we meditate and Phowa, this syllable, you have to visualize that. The syllable is not syllable. I mean, just not material thing. Syllable form of our consciousness, but it is, or it has, the cognition and clarity. Right? But form appears like syllable, which is the Buddha Amitabha's heart, the essence of his heart. So that's why their power, if you do this, this combination is very powerful. It's your consciousness because the clarity and cognition, but it's also Buddha Amitabha's, the essence of his heart.
What did you say, I can't remember, a day or two ago, because what about, when you visualize something, then you're visualizing. But what about just expelling your consciousness directly? Your consciousness and not using a visualization. Didn't you say that's another way to do it?
Yeah, that's Dharmakaya and Phowa. Formless, no visualization.
But still expelling the consciousness into the spaciousness.
Right. That's the ultimate way to practice this Phowa, transferring our consciousness into this ultimate reality. Dharmakaya and Phowa. Dharmakaya and Phowa.
Is that transference still through the channel?
No, there's no form,
Okay.
no visualization. You just stay there, your Buddha nature, your nature mind.
Sure.
That's the Dharmakaya and Phowa. We call that Dharmakaya and Phowa, but you are already there.
Sure.
So you don't need to say sure, you don't need to visualize. It's formless practice. Without visualization,
Can we do that? I mean, do you recommend that as a practice or not?
It depends. That's in order to do that, something else we have to practice before, yeah. But first, we really need to know our consciousness. What looks like, how it works. What you understand when we say consciousness. Consciousness is continuation. It's not permanent though.
It's like a little
Because
illusion.
looks like when we say, our consciousness, when we die, that's not end of our life. Our consciousness and body is separate, and consciousness goes next to life. That looks like people say, it's permanent. But it's not permanent. It's constantly changing. Continuation.
Because of habitual patterns and lifelong tendencies and karma, and so.
The cause, the consciousness, right? The last moment consciousness, that is the cause of the, let's say, two things. The first, this consciousness, the last moment consciousness causes this consciousness. The first, the kind of the effect, the result. So that's why this is gone, but still the result here. It's like a flower, how they bloom, So our body is same, Yesterday's our bodies, actually, if you really investigate, it's not there today. It's already gone, but our body is continuation. So still, it's changed, but still, there, right? The results, yesterday's body's result, today here. But when we died, our body stopped. It can't sort of continue it. Another way, our body never disappeared. When we die, our body becomes something, right? Becomes something that creates something. That's why we call it dependent origination. Become something. but not like this, right? When your body something, become kermit, and then you the ash put somewhere, create something else, flower or grass or something. That's our body, and that flower seeds another something. So there's never stopped. It's continue doing this. It create something. But consciousness is a little bit different than that.
But and consciousness is what we experience everything through, but consciousness is constantly changing.
Changing,
And
exactly.
that's part of the spontaneous unfolding of the moment, because it's always, the consciousness is changing as everything else is changing.
Mm-hmm.
And so-
Exactly.
And then is awareness.
Awareness.
Awareness is like the awareness of all that is all this is happening.
Yes, it's like the consciousness, the like gold in golden, gold. A gold is a piece of gold is a gold, but it's also the yellow, the color is never separate. The gold, right? That's the same thing. Your consciousness. It is clear. It is clarity in cognition. There's not separate things. And then you have that characters, then you have ability to understand, and there is awareness, there is a wisdom.
Awareness is a result of consciousness? Awareness is not the same as consciousness. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Awareness, what's the relationship between awareness and consciousness?
Awareness and consciousness. Well, when I say cognition, you know that? Do you understand that? Sarhyang Rikpa. Awareness actually, in Tibet, totally different than that. Damba. Yeah.
I've always thought of awareness as what we really are, and everything exists within awareness. Consciousness exists within awareness, mind exists within awareness. Awareness is really is the Rigpa or the Dharmakaya. It's the purity of everything exists
Yeah,
at the same time.
that level is, yes, but also relatively you guys use awareness, right?
Like I'm aware of this.
Yeah, aware of that. That's the kind of, in Tibet, part of this, part of the cognition and clarity. That's result, or kind of part of the cognition clarity. This awareness and the ultimate, when we say the awareness, the nature of awareness, is a little bit different. Okay.
Do animals have consciousness?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That's you need to know. When we say beings, living beings means who has clarity and cognition. Then that's we call living beings. Without these two things, we call material things, body or whatever. Without consciousness, that's what we call without consciousness. Without consciousness means clarity and cognition.
So we're talking sentient?
Sentient beings. Whoever have these two characters, then is sentient beings. Doesn't matter a tree has, a flower has, or whatever, who has that, we call sentient being. So as long as the beings have this clarity and cognition, they have a feeling, they have thoughts, they have a Buddha nature. There is a happy, there is these emotions are there. So that's why we can't harm them. If you harm them, then they feel it. They will suffer. Then they don't want suffering, right? Otherwise, if you cut a tree without this clarity and cognition, you think they're suffering?
Yes.
How? How you know?
See, that's like you and I have had this discussion. I think that the elements have a sense of wisdom and clarity and cognition.
So that then suffer. I'm saying, without that, if without that clarity and cognition, cut a tree. Let's say this tree, we clearly know that this tree has no clarity and cognition, and somebody cut that. You think suffering? It's suffering.
I think so, it still has life.
Yeah, yeah. I
When you
think
cut
it's
the tree, it dies,
What if it doesn't have
No, die.
consciousness?
or it changes form.
yeah, but it's part of the
No, that's
whole
the-
living ecosystem. So if you cut the tree, maybe the tree isn't sentient, but the bird that has the nest.
No,
in the
that's
tree is
totally
gonna
different.
suffer. What's the boundaries?
They have.
That's you're talking about everything interdependent each
well,
other
they-
like that,
They
right?
have hooked up trees and plants and all of this to measuring equipment, and you could cut it, or you could even think about cutting it from across the room, and you get a measurable reaction from the tree.
That's what people say when they don't wanna give up eating meat.
Well, you know, so
Maybe you know that you're talking that then they have that. They have the mind. They have consciousness.
Yeah, but what about this house though? There's
Yeah. What
all
about
these-
these things? If you cut this, it's difficult to know. You know. I mean, actually, that's why we have to just be careful all the time. Just don't do negative things, even though we don't know it has a consciousness or not. But just live it naturally. You know. Then Buddha said that. You know, just don't do negative things. Just as much as you can. Right? We never know who has a consciousness or not. I mean, maybe these flower rocks or whatever. Maybe they have consciousness. Maybe inside the living beings, the intermediate state everywhere. Inside this wood, there's somewhere in living beings there. And then you cut that, and then it will die, right?
Khenpo, we're asking, may I swiftly attain the deathless state of a Vidyadhara when we do the long life ritual? Can you talk a little bit about what the qualities or characteristics of the deathless state of the Vidyadhara?
That's what we call nature mind.
So that's nothing other than recognizing the nature of mind?
Chimitse kompak. Become a Buddha Amitai, yourself become a Buddha Amitai. That's what we call deathless state of Vidyadhara.
So like Guru Rinpoche, when he in the Matarika cave with, what was it, his consort, obtained the deathless state of immortality, that's what he was realizing? Was basically...
Guru Rinpoche is everywhere. Guru Rinpoche is here. If you believe and if you have faith, you will see it. Because deathless.
So when he's in his light body...
That shows everything is, he shows us, everything is impermanence. Even though Guru Rinpoche is a Buddha, has a full of capacity, but have to die. Means everything is impermanence. They teach us to remember everything is change and impermanent.
Help me understand. As I understand it, the state of the Vidyadhara is a higher state than even high bodhisattvas. Is that right?
High bodhisattva, yeah. Rikpan Vidyadhara means in Tibet, Rikpan Zamba means like.
Vidyadhara is higher. Yeah.
Deathless. Mortality. Chimitei. Chiva mepa in Tibet. Chiva mepa means deathless. Means your nature reality. Without, that's beyond death and birth. It's amazing, this nature mind.
It's nature of mind, but it also means they can control the reality too.
Control everything, the nature of all phenomena, nature of your everything.
Right.
It's
So they're like a master of reality. They understand relative reality and they understand ultimate reality.
when we talk about these things, maybe you guys, makes sense, right? You are not, you understand very well. But just ordinary people, just, they don't understand what you're talking about. You say deathless. What do you mean deathless? Everybody has to die, right? Even Buddha died. Pamasambhava died. My teacher died. What do you mean deathless? They don't understand this nature, the reality. People don't understand. Maybe like 7 billion people here in this planet. Maybe like, I don't know, 1 million understanding. That's why we're in samsara. That makes sense, I think. Right? But our nature is amazing if we understand this. Not only human beings, animals, insects, they have this Buddha nature. But they just, the ignorance, just can't see it, you know. We have Buddha nature, but also ignorance covered that. So, right? So when I say that, you should visualize the syllable as your consciousness. Now I understand, right? You understand. Just like, you know, just really like moving, it's sparkling, something. It's difficult to explain, but it's not just a syllable, okay? Not just like neutral thing. Understand? It's something really, you know, live, something really live, and lots of sort of radiant, you know. It's your consciousness. It's your essence of your life. Understand? We have to visualize that. I mean, think about that. And one thing, and then we say that, and we say, you know, sometimes you just like move your head like this. You don't need to do that. Your head is just stable like that. If you want, you can gaze up like this. But you don't need to move, you know, your head just like this, you know. Sometimes people I see when you say like that, you don't need to do that. You know, just stay like that, stable, and just relax and back your back straight, and then if you want, you just only move your eyes up like like that. You know. If you don't want, then that's okay. Just to open your eyes, and that's fine. Understand? What else I need to correct to you? I think that's all. Everything's really good. All right. Okay, it's already 4 o'clock. Do you have any sort of experiences, any feel something here? You do?
Hurts.
Yeah.
Hurts? Yeah.
Tingle.
Sore.
Tingle.
Can't think before that though.
Love was going up and the roof was not stopping.
There's Marty, we've been missing you today.
Just woke up.
He was hanging out with Buddha Amitabha in the Buddha fields. They were drinking beer together.
At a symposium.
Okay, I think that's good because that science shows, you know, you really focus on there. I mean, you know, it's our energies. Actually, this is our energy, right? So you feel something or something there. That's your energy, and that means you really focus on your syllable, this your consciousness, you know, left in and higher, and goes there. So that's your focus, and so that's, I think, good sign. Oh, may all sentient beings have happiness and the cause of the happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of the suffering. May they never depart from the sublime bliss that is free from suffering. May they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all sentient beings have happiness and the cause of the happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of the suffering.